The first time I played football, I was quite young, maybe 3 or 4 years old. I had older siblings who both played football also, so I was kind of wanted to be like them, do what they were into, be a part of what they were doing. So I used to like join their trainings. My parents would take me to their trainings with them, and I'd try to join in if I could, but you're just the outcast on the side there. So I was dying to be able to play on my own. So once I was old enough, my parents were able to get me involved with the team, and from there just kind of stuck with it. So I grew up in the Boston area and played most of my youth football there, actually even right up to my first professional club. It was actually a Boston-based club. So I was kind of fortunate in that way to get to spend so much time close to home. Spent one season a little bit further south, but also in the U.S., in Carolina, and then made a big move over to Finland. So been to a couple different clubs in Finland here now, but working on my 5th season. So yeah, definitely a little bit further from home, but it's a good change, and I've enjoyed the experience so far. It was definitely a different experience moving to Finland compared to kind of the cultural things I was used to in the U.S. For example, first moving to Tamasari, everything there is in Swedish. So you've moved to Finland, but everyone speaks Swedish. So you go to the market, all of the food, everything is in Swedish. Everyone speaks Swedish. So I spent 2 years there, and I got quite used to that language, familiar with that language. And then once I moved outside of there to Espoo, everything was different again. So it was maybe a little bit of a culture shock, even within the same country like that. Everything at the market is in Finnish. I have to try to learn what the different items are and all of that. So it was definitely a different experience in that way. Some of the things that I've enjoyed about Finland so far, definitely summer. The weather right now is incredible, and people really like to spend the time outside. There's tons of parks and nice places by the water. You can sit, have a coffee, and just kind of look out at the ocean. I grew up quite close to the sea, and so for me it's kind of a familiar place. It's nice to be by the water and be able to just enjoy the time, enjoy a little bit of easy times, get escape from football for a bit. So I think that part of the Finnish culture, I've really enjoyed that. So some personality traits or characteristics I might have. Pretty carefree for the most part, like easygoing, but I can be a bit obsessive compulsive at times. Like I like things really tidy, so for example, Ate sits next to me in the locker room, and he's always got this big bag of clothes and his shoes, and he takes up the whole area. So I get a little bit, I need to nudge his shoes over a little bit so they kind of stay in his side, keep my area a little bit more tidy. So that's maybe one of my kind of negative thing that I have in that way. I can be a little bit uptight like that. So I work on it. I try to mostly be a little easygoing about it, but yeah, definitely inside I'm fighting those kinds of urges for sure. Some hobbies or things that I enjoy doing outside of football. I like to cook, so maybe not all the time do I want to prepare a really intricate meal or anything, but Yeah, sometimes I feel like getting a little crazy in the kitchen, putting together something. Another thing that maybe I haven't done as much recently in my free time, but over the years I do a little bit of drawing or like some painting, something. It's kind of relaxing, and I don't know, I guess I like these kind of like detail-oriented type of things. So yeah, when I was a kid, my mom always would, you know, like, she's big into art, so that was kind of like an activity we would do together. You know, could draw or paint or something. It was easy for her to like pass that on for me. So something that I've kind of stuck with and just kept doing. You know, a little bit of a relaxing thing for me. So. And yeah, also again, not so often anymore these days because, you know, there's not so much of a time to do it, and of course you don't want to risk getting injured. But I used to snowboard a lot. We grew up pretty close to the mountains, so, you know, in the winter time we were always up there skiing or snowboarding or whatever, just, you know, enjoying the winters. So yeah, for me that was definitely something that I really enjoy doing. So I guess the reason I kind of felt a little bit more comfortable as being a goalkeeper is because I'm the youngest child, used to kind of having things thrown at me, or, you know, having to dodge around. We used to fight a bit in our house when we were kids, 3 of us growing up. So you know, you're just a bit used to being in that type of situation. And then my brother, at his trainings, for some reason I would always go stand by their goalkeeper after the trainings. So, like, even guys would be doing some shooting or something, and I would just try to be there and be involved and hang out with the goalkeeper on his team. So I guess it's kind of somewhere I've always felt a bit comfortable. Of course, when you're a young kid, you know, you end up playing in different positions and, you know, just kind of seeing where you fit and where it works. But I guess probably about 12 years old or so when I was basically just being a goalkeeper. So it's, yeah, I would say I owe it to my brother and sister for being a goalkeeper. Not that I'm in any rush to get there, but I guess at some point football career will have to come to an end. I thought a bit about it, but, you know, like I said, I'm not in so much of a rush. I've been in the working world, and I wasn't a big fan, so I guess I would, you know, ideally love to stay involved with football in some form or another, whether that's coaching, youth level, or, you know, whatever kind of level that is. Maybe that would be a good thing for me to be involved in. Of course, I think, you know, when you're a football player and you've been a part of it for so many years, it's kind of hard to let go of that passion and that love for the sport. So, you know, I think that's why you see a lot of the guys still involved with it in some way or form. So I'm not so sure about in which capacity that'll be at this point, because I'll try to push that off into the distance. But yeah, definitely would love to stay involved with the game. My guilty pleasure would definitely be ice cream. I was addicted for a bit. I had to quit it for a while. Definitely can't keep it in the house. I'm limited to kiosk purchases only. Something I will never do is eat anything salmiakki flavored. I do not like it at all. My favorite food is pizza. My favorite drink is a Dark & Storm. I like to listen to kind of a little bit of everything, but if I had to choose a category, it'd probably be more like reggae style music. I like to relax by just kind of going out for a walk and enjoying the day. Maybe have a coffee and take it easy. I normally do most of my shopping when I go home. There's a store there that all of the clothes fit me pretty well. So I stock up when I go there. So what does Honka mean to me? It's I don't, maybe a bit different than some of the other guys in the way that a lot of them grew up maybe playing for the club and have moved on to other places and, you know, come back to the club. So for them in that way, it's maybe they feel a big connection like that. For me, I guess now I'm working on my 3rd season here. You know, you didn't really grow up with the club in that way, but still it's had a big impact on my life and my career. As I said a little bit before, you know, there was a time where I wasn't really enjoying playing football anymore, and I said now I'm at a point where I'm enjoying it, and you know, it's great to be competitive and play in these games and play for this club, and you know, made good friends, and it's I've really kind of been a big thing for me in that way to bring me back into enjoying football and playing, and you know, having that that competitive spirit and doing something again that I love doing. So for me, I think that's a big part of what Honka has done for me, and you know, hopefully I'm able to, you know, give back in whatever way I can.